Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. It's time for a Purity post-match point fused with being a match preview for the Liverpool game tomorrow as well. Obviously, Villa went to Burnley and won 3-1 on Saturday, which was absolutely excellent to see. Talking to Purity, if you use the code #VillaView, you will get 10% off all their offerings on their website. So do go and check that out. They've got some lovely stuff. And if you like ale, you like beer, he's going to be right up your alley. I'm joined by Omar to chat through Burnley 1, Aston Villa 3, and look ahead to Liverpool, as I said. Omar, you okay?
Good, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Been a while.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that, and both of us oddly wearing football paraphernalia, but none of it Villa, which makes complete sense for a Villa podcast.
Mine's a lot closer than yours, to be fair.
That's very true. I don't know. If the owners have got some money. We're not too far away from Paris Saint-Germain nowadays, Omar. Not too far away at all. Let's start then with the Burnley game. Probably one of Villa's most complete away performances of the season, if not the most complete away performance of the season. I can't think of another one that was up there with that. Perhaps Palace away. That was a good performance all round, I thought. But apart from the blot on the copybook conceding the goal late on, as away days go, it was pretty perfect.
Yeah. Palace was the other one I was thinking of as well. Norwich was pretty good away. Leeds maybe is another one.
Leeds was a good one.
I think going into this game, I was a lot more worried about this game than those games because Burnley on a good run, 3 games in a row they've won. I didn't think they'd win 4 games in a row, but I did think that it would be a very difficult game, very physical game. And obviously, we don't have a great record against them at their place, do we? I think it's well documented. We've won once in the last 30, 40 years or whatever it was. So just the nature of the way that we played, how we imposed ourselves in the game, and how dominant we were, I think was it. I know some people say, well, we beat Norwich and Burnley, 2 of the worst teams in the league, but it's not always about where they're in the table, it's about where they are in that moment. And I think they're in a good place. They were playing good football. Their fans were well up for it as well, looking for another win. They had a lot riding on this match, whereas we probably don't, because let's be honest, we're going to finish mid-table in around where we are now. And the fact that we played the way we did, and the fact the players were up for it, winning second balls and that kind of stuff. Yeah, really, really good performance, really impressive. And as you say, apart from that little blip at the end, which is annoying, but apart from that, I think to a man, really, I don't think you can really complain about anyone. I think everyone was at least good, if not better than good.
Yeah, you go around the side. I think everyone put in a shift, everyone put in a good performance. Everyone had a little bit of nice facets of the game, showing what they can do. I mean, Gerrard sprung. I wouldn't say it was a surprise because I think people have been calling for Buendia to start. It's very difficult at the moment to start Buendia and Coutinho because actually all our wins recently I'm including the Norwich one in this because Ings came on. All our wins really have come with 2 up front and 1 player playing behind. That diamond does seem to be our best system at the moment, but nonetheless, there was a few surprises in there. Chambers obviously playing defensive midfield as well. I don't think anyone really talked about that. There was a spell early on in the season when everyone was calling for it, and then just when no one's calling for it, it ends up happening. So Gerrard shuffled his pack a little bit. I actually think he was probably just resting Coutinho for Tuesday. Buendia has been chomping at the bit to play, so I actually think Coutinho has probably been rested rather than being dropped. But now he does have a little bit of a decision to make because Buendia, goal and assist, arguably man of the match.
Yeah. I think Gerrard hinted at more changes for Tuesday as well, didn't he, at the end of the match? Because obviously we've got a few games in a short amount of time. So, although it is the end of the season, but I was surprised actually. I was really surprised Chambers played defensive midfield. When I first saw the team, I thought we were going 3 at the back. And then someone on one of the WhatsApp groups said, "Oh well, surely Chambers is playing defensive midfield." I totally forgot he could play there. I just, even though we talked about it for probably at length when we first signed him, I totally forgot he could play there. And the formation is just working, and it's weird, isn't it? Now that after so much debate around Ings and Watkins playing together and how they can't play together, and it needs to be one or the other, and we have to find a system that suits them both. We're now in a position where we play our best football when both of them are playing together, and it seems like if one of them is not playing, then it doesn't quite work. Whereas when both of them are playing, it just seems to be like they've got a good understanding. They know where each other needs to be. They press well together. Watkins tends to be the highest up, so the furthest up, and then Ings sort of drops behind a little bit, or on the right or the left, and then obviously got Buendia, Coutinho. I suppose the key now really is we've maybe not for this season, but we do have to find some way of getting Buendia and Coutinho in the same team. And in Ings and Watkins in the same team, and I don't really know how you do. I don't really know how you do it. One thing I thought of was maybe playing you could maybe some people have thought about playing Buendia as a number 8, but I don't really know how you go about doing that.
I certainly don't think Tuesday's the time for that against Liverpool.
No, I don't think so. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see more changes. Because I thought Chambers did well. He grew into the game, but on the ball, I didn't think he was that great. He did the defensive part really well, but I think you saw Dougie Luiz having to drop deep quite a bit to pick up the ball and start our play, which he does as he plays that position normally anyway. Because I don't think Chambers is that kind of player. So maybe against Liverpool he'll play because maybe we won't have that much of the ball, so maybe that's fine. But I think on the transition, on the counter attack, you need someone like Dougie Luiz to then spring you into attack, and I don't think Chambers is that kind of player. So I'll be interested to see. I was surprised Nakamba didn't play at all.
No, there is a case for Nakamba, I would say, against Liverpool, because I wouldn't expect Chambers to play there. The only slight issue I had with him in central midfield was I thought he found it hard to keep up with the play going backwards. He's not the quickest Chambers, and against a team like Liverpool in transition, that's probably the last thing that you need. But then I would also say I probably wouldn't want Luiz as a defensive midfielder in that game. You'd want Nakamba, but since he's come back, we've barely seen anything of him, really. Maybe Tim will start. I don't know. I mean, we should probably focus more on the Burnley game for now and come on to the Liverpool game. But with Ramsey, you'd expect Luiz to probably end up playing as an 8 unless Sanson comes back from the dead and ends up playing there as well. It will be interesting to see what happens Tuesday. But for this game, do you think maybe Chambers was put in because it's Burnley, likely to be a bit more aerial, a bit more physical, so it made sense to have someone who had a bit more height in there, someone who's more of a defender?
Oh, 100%. I think that's clever by Gerrard, and it shows good. It's something I've been critical of him a little bit as well. Is in terms of his sort of player selection, substitutions, formations, etc. And I think he did completely the right thing, and surprised many others. But I think he did the right thing by playing Chambers there for his height, but also his defensive ability. I think he did the right thing by resting Coutinho, getting Buendia. Obviously, Buendia has been, as you say, chomping on the bit, and to give him an opportunity, and he's obviously repaid that with a goal and assist. I think all over the shop, really. I think he's just made the right calls. The formation that we play now, you see McGinn much further forward than he has been.
McGinn was able to get forward.
Yeah, you see, that's where he's at his best. That ball he played into Watkins, that's where you need him. You need him sort of picking up those spaces in and around the flanks, in and around the edge of the box as well. That's where he's at. He's dangerous, and he can do something. Him, defending from deep or playing as an inverted fullback that he has been doing for a while now. It just doesn't utilise his talent. So I just think it was just all good all around. Everything Gerrard wanted to do came off, and you can't really complain with that. And I think overall, I just you can't complain with anything in that performance at all. And I think Watkins led the line really well. The fullbacks were really good. And I think one thing I'd like to pick up on is Luca Dean as well. I think
excellent, unbelievable game.
We look like a different team when he plays. I think in terms of going forward, defensively, if you look at the stats and look at the season, we haven't really been that bad. Yes, we've made a lot of individual mistakes, and maybe the goalkeeper hasn't had his best of his seasons, but we've still got 10, 11 clean sheets. Still not giving away too much in terms of goals. But I think going forward, Luca Dean just adds another level, doesn't he? It's a different dimension to us.
He was comfortably man of the match on Saturday, I would say. And there was a lot of good performances, but I would say he was comfortably man of the match. He was just a threat going forward every single time. Felt like he was involved in most good things that Villa did. And he's actually playing still with a bit of a knock. I found out after the game, he's still carrying a knock. He's rushed himself back to make himself available and put himself in the frame to play, but he actually isn't fully recovered from his injury. So that, again, says a lot about his character. You could see from his Instagram, he was putting a lot of work in going into the training ground. So credit to him, because he's playing when he's not 100% fit, and he's getting man of the match awards from me, not from the proper ways. But I've given him the man of the match because I think he was excellent. Yeah,
I thought he's just really good. Really, he's a committed player, isn't he? I think, he's the kind of standard player that we want to have across the team. I think when we signed him, we both said, didn't we, that we were surprised that we were able to get him, but it was victim of circumstance. I think if we'd be looking to sign him this summer, for example, there's no way we'd get him, because I think he'd be back in that team that Rafa's gone. So we were lucky, and we took advantage of it, and I think he's going to be such a key player for us. Just in terms of his link-up play with the midfielders, his ability to pass the ball, his crossing ability, it's always on point. That cross to Buendia, most fullbacks will hit the first man, or won't look up and drag the ball back. It's just calm. He knew what he was doing, took his time, and he picked out the ball. There was loads of bodies there. It wasn't like it was an easy pass to make. and he slightly in between two Burnley players, and obviously Buendia gets a bit of luck with the deflection, but again, picking up the right spot. But it seems like they've been working on that. I don't know if you saw the training videos. There was about maybe 5-6 minute clip on YouTube I was watching before the match, and they were basically just over and over again working on those types of plays where the fullback was getting to the byline and dragging it back, and players were there picking up. So I don't know if that was something that came off in the match, but it's good to see them working on that kind of stuff.
It feels like in the last couple of games, maybe the last 3 games. Actually, you could probably include the Spurs game in it as well, because we did play very, very well in that first half. It feels a bit like we've found the balance with the fullbacks now. It was too far one way for a long period of time, where they're the highest players on the pitch, and it was really affecting the midfield. Then maybe it went back to they're not involved enough. It does kind of feel now like there's the right balance with how the fullbacks are coming forward. Because Cash had an effective game on the right-hand side. It was Dean who was the standout, but Cash had more of the same. He's player of the season for me. He's been very consistent all the way through the season. But it does feel now like we found a little bit of a balance. And you saw with McGinn getting forward for the goal as well, having the central midfielders able to get forward and get involved. It just felt a bit more right, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was pleasing, really. I think I agree with you completely. Cash has been player of the season for me as well. I think he's been the most consistent player, and again had a good game, and had a good opportunity, nearly scored. Well, had a good shot anyway.
Yeah, good stuff.
But it was good to see that, like I said, McGinn overlapping. One thing we've both been critical about is the midfielders, is that because the fullbacks are so high up and the midfielders sort of tuck in, there's no one overlapping, and it's not like. And then if you don't have the overlapping midfielders, then you have to rely on that Buendia pass that we got for the first goal, which is a difficult pass to make and difficult skill to have, which Buendia does possess, but it doesn't always come off. It's a very difficult way of trying to find a goal. Whereas what we saw was a real mix between how we played. We varied it up a little bit, and McGinn getting up ahead over Luca Dean and crossing that ball in is a good sign, because
I actually thought it was Luca Dean when the cross first came in. It was that good a cross. I actually thought it was Luca Dean. It
was a great cross, a really good cross, and it was just really good. And Watkins was there, and all game really worked hard. Watkins did, Luca Dean, McGinn. You can't really argue with anyone really. I think I completely agree. I think Luca Dean, Watkins, Cash, Buendia were probably the 4 best players, I thought. But yeah, it's interesting to see what happens. We'll obviously talk about the Liverpool game in a second, but interesting to see how he changes it up for the next game, and how we change our formation, how we do adjust tactics a little bit. But again, if you look at the positions of our players as well, I don't know if you saw the average positions of our players. If you look a couple of months ago, we were losing, the fullbacks weren't as high as they have been, and the midfielders, it was more like a 4-2-1-1-2 formation type thing that we were playing, which sort of made sense, quite compact. And I thought we dealt with Burnley's threat, which was basically Dwight McNeil, pretty well. I think Chambers helped on that quite a bit as well.
Yeah, McNeil he gave Dean. Obviously, Dean got a relatively early booking, and I thought, that might not be great. Might have been a little bit troubling, but he actually dealt with being on a yellow card pretty well, and Villa just carried a threat all game. I mean, we're a good side when we go ahead. I know probably most sides are, but you do feel when we go 1-0 up, generally we'll go and win the game. So to get that goal early was a real plus, and it was a bit of a throwback to the pre-season. I think it was against Warsaw when Buendia played a through ball through to Watkins, just perfectly measured. Yeah. This one was actually on his wrong foot. I think Gerrard actually alluded to that pass in his post match, which I found impressive, that he's gone back and, it's his job, but he's gone back and watched pre-season friendlies, probably watched every game that Villa have played in the lead to the season. So I thought that was a nice little mention from him. But it was just a lovely weighted pass, and Danny Ings, he still had a lot to do getting onto his left foot. But you said Watkins as well. Probably, he's been really, really good the last 3 games. He's getting back on the score sheet. He actually, in the end, is going to hit somewhere near last season's tally, which, a few weeks ago, people would have said, well, he's been nowhere near it, but goal output-wise, he's probably not that far off where he was last season. So that's another positive thing as well. So those 3 linking up, you kind of feel like they have to start now. I know it's Liverpool, but we're a better team with 2 up front. It's just, what do we do with Buendia and Coutinho? Because I think Gerrard in his mind would have earmarked Buendia for Burnley, Coutinho for Liverpool. But I don't know what he's going to do now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I think if you look at the Liverpool match, I think it's difficult to change. I think Coutinho. You would think Coutinho maybe gets in because it's Liverpool against his own side, playing at home as well. I just think I think the front three works regardless of whether Coutinho or Buendia plays. I think Coutinho.
But it's harsh now on Buendia. He's waited so long for a chance, and he gets the chance, gets a goal and assist. Not much else he can do more there. If he was suddenly to come out now, maybe he looks cross anyway.
The only way I can think you could do it is maybe play like a 4-2-3-1 and play Buendia off the right, Watkins off the left, and then Ings up front.
Then you're moving away from the front two that's working quite well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I mean, it seems quite the front three seems quite fluid to me. It was for the front three. Buendia definitely played the number 10, and Ings and Watkins Watkins was the higher up, and Ings was sort of dropping off and picking up positions in and around him. But I don't know. I think you could play it, and then it would be quite narrow front three, though. I imagine that might be the only issue. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. But I mean, just on the first goal, I don't know if you picked up on this, but what I noticed was Buendia when just before, so the ball comes over to Luis, and Luis plays a ball forward to Buendia. Just before the ball comes to Buendia takes a look over his right shoulder. Match of
the day, slowed down.
Just to see, did this? Right, didn't realize it match today. There goes my.
I assumed you'd stolen it from Match of the Day and were trying to pass it off as your own analysis.
No, I didn't see it Match of the Day. There you go. Yeah, me and who was it? Who was people?
I think it was Shearer. I think it was Alan Shearer. Yeah, it was Alan Shearer.
Ian Shearer, mate.
Same both great goal scorers.
Yeah, great, exactly. Yeah. But I thought it was just that kind of play. I just love Buendia. He's just so good. He's been so unlucky not to be in the side, and just shows you what kind of player he is. He already knows what he's going to do. He's like in his head. He's like, touch it, pass it, and he's already see where Ings is going to be. And I mean, Coutinho is the only other player who can do that. And obviously, I think Coutinho is a better player on his day, but I just think Buendia is more consistent.
He's a warrior. He works hard. That's the thing about Buendia, isn't it? He puts himself about for a small goal.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's strong, very strong. And early on in the season, when he was playing, things weren't coming off for him. He was losing the ball. He was getting in sort of tough positions. And now what you see is when he's in a sort of players that are around him, he'll sort of weasel way out and do a nice little trick. Whereas early in the season, he was sort of losing the ball and players and fans were getting frustrated.
I didn't mind that because he was trying to play forward and he was trying things like there's no good.
Yeah, but fans were getting on the back of him.
No. I remember, but I just always remember thinking that was okay.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I thought, because he was in those games, he was sort of doing 3 or 4 bad things with 3 or 4 really good things. And you were like, well, if you set up a goal or setting up chances, then you sort of take the rough with the smooth. But now he's just good all over the shop, and I think he's really found his form. And it's a shame the season's ending for him because I think he's got a real chance to stake a claim in the Argentina team now. I think because he's in the Premier League, especially, he's probably. I think if he's got the most goal contributions of any Argentinian player in the league, so that's a good sign. In fact, he hasn't played that many minutes as well. It's a shame for him because he could do with a bit more game time. But I guess we'll see what happens on Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't actually think it was the best pass from Luis into him either. I think he kind of overhit it a little bit, got a bit more air on it than he wanted to, Luis. But Buendia just took it down effortlessly and played that pass with his wrong foot. It's a lovely bit of playing. It's a lovely goal, and all the goals were well worked. Which was another nice thing to see. Gerrard will be pleased if you've said those training clips that you saw. They've been working on that kind of thing in training. All 3 goals were well worked goals, ball on the floor, movement, making things happen, clever passes. 3 very nice goals. You won't see 3 much nicer goals than that in a game anywhere this season in terms of team goals. So that's another encouraging thing. It feels like it's coming together a little bit at the moment. And actually, because we've not drawn games really all season, it's felt like a worse season than it's been. When we've lost, we've tended to go in and then lose 3 games in a row or 4 games in a row, sometimes 5 games in a row. So things have always felt bad when we've been losing. But since Gerrard's come in, we'd be a point off 8th if the season started when Gerrard came in. Realistically, could we ask for much more than that, really?
No, I don't think so. I think, I think points per game has been good. I said if he ends up anywhere near sort of the points total that we did last season, then it's been a very good season, considering the start that we had, the injuries that we had. But you're right. I think if you said to me 3 weeks ago, how did I feel? I would have thought, well, maybe it was the wrong decision to get Gerrard in. But now, obviously, we've won a few games.
The problem, isn't it? Because we lost so many games, it has made things feel worse. Usually, you would sprinkle some draws in there, and it wouldn't maybe feel quite as bad.
Yeah, I also think we haven't really learned anything new in these last few weeks. So we know we're a good team against lower league,
record against teams beneath us is good.
Beneath us is good. It's the teams above us that we struggle with, and that's when we tend to go on our losing runs. So I don't think you can read too much into these last few games, but at the same time, I think you can sort of see where we're heading towards and where improvements need to be made. And if we can get those improvements in and they can make the impact that we need them to be made, then I think we've got a real chance of maybe getting to the sort of top 8 position, because we're not really far off at all, considering the season that we've had and the issues that we've had. Just a couple of those losses, 1-0 losses that we've had, turn into draws or wins, then it'd be a completely different story. So I don't know you, but obviously we'll talk about this in another pods, but I think it was clear to see some of the areas that we do need to improve on, even though we beat Burnley 3-1 and it was almost a complete away performance. I think centre half and centre midfield are 2 areas I think we really need to look at in the summer.
And we will. Gerrard will spend money in the summer. I don't think we'll see 6, 7, 8 players coming through the door or anything stupid like that, but I think there'll be 3 or 4 Gerrard players brought in the core of the side. So through the middle, you're going to see Gerrard put more of a stamp on this squad. So he'll bring in his own centre-back, he'll bring in his own central midfielder, and he'll probably bring in his own striker as well. I think that's what we'll see. There'll be the kind of players that he wants. And then there's still a lot to work with within this squad. A few people will depart. Obviously, people who aren't here at the moment are on loan anyway. They'll probably be the main ones that will depart, but there'll be outgoings. But I don't think it's massive surgery that's required with this side. Gerrard's improved a fair few of the players. Ramsey's goal output has changed since Gerrard's there. Matty Cash has become a better footballer under Gerrard. He's already brought in Coutinho. Well, Coutinho's not permanent at the moment. He's brought in Luca Dean at left back. I just don't think it will be the wholesale changes that perhaps we maybe thought at some point. But you're right. Through the middle of the team, I think Gerrard will put his stamp on this squad.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're not far off really at all. Like I said, we just need tweaking a little bit. It'll be interesting to see where we finish off, because we've got obviously 2 hard games: Liverpool, Man City, and then Crystal Palace and Burnley.
You'd like 6 more points, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would hope. I would hope for 6 more points, and that would put us in what? Well, we were 43 now.
We'll flash the table up so we can have a quick look.
Yeah. So I think we'll end up. Hopefully, we can end up near 49 points. That puts us in a good stage. I mean,
I reckon that would get you 10th.
Yeah, and which would be amazing. I think anyone would have taken 10th after Dean Smith departed. So yeah, I think it's a shame we didn't get 55 points this season, because obviously we would have been a lot higher in the table. But I think every place is an extra couple of million, isn't it, as well? So pays for the season ticket increases.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about that for now. Maybe save that for another video. Yeah, I understand why people are upset about that. That if you sit in a certain area, it's not great. But yeah, I'd like to hear a bit more from the club on it, to be honest. Right, then let's look ahead to Liverpool then tomorrow night at Villa Park. Liverpool no margin for error in the race to win the league at the moment. Unfortunately for Liverpool, they've dropped points against Spurs. Spurs may be unfortunate not to take all 3 in the end, but on the face of it, it's not a terrible result, 1-1 against Spurs at home. But at this stage of the season, the way the league lies, there's no margin for error at all. So Liverpool are not in the driving seat at all in terms of the title race, because it looks like, I would say, Man City will win all of their remaining games. So if Liverpool do exactly the same, it isn't going to be enough, unfortunately, for them. But they come to Villa Park still unbeaten for a very long time, capable of doing damage to any team. I do think they can be got at. I honestly think the way they play, you can get in behind them, and I think that might suit us with Ings and Watkins, but it's going to be a really, really hard game at Villa Park. Yeah,
we know it's going to be a hard game, but I do think it's a good time to play them at Villa Park, because I think on the back of a couple of wins, Tuesday night, under the lights, free hit, they're under pressure. They've got lots of games coming up still. They've obviously got the FA Cup, weekend, they've got Champions League, and they've got league games. A lot of stress, a lot of pressure on them. Players are, obviously feeling it a little bit, and they've not had the best of results. Okay result, like you said, but not the best of results against Spurs. And they put it all out there. They really, in terms of their players, the effort levels were high. So you would imagine, there'd be a little bit of tired legs there. Maybe some changes being made as well, because he'll have to rotate the team a little bit.
I mean, he's certainly got the squad to do that, Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be worried about having to play Aston Villa. To be honest,
would you?
I still think I think so. I think of all the teams that you could face right now, I think you look around, so maybe West Ham, Wolves, Villa, those kind of teams where, difficult places to go and win a game. They've got the ability to beat any team. And I think Man City and Liverpool play those teams, don't they? I think they play Wolves. Both teams play Wolves and both teams play us as well.
I believe so.
I think, I don't think it's an easy game. There must, I think someone like Southampton or someone like that, they'd much prefer
Manchester United
going away under the lights at Villa Park. Yeah, exactly. Manchester United, exactly. Yeah, anyone would play them right now. I wish we could play them right now.
We still would have win at Villa Park, mate. It doesn't matter when we play them. We still wouldn't beat them.
Yeah. Somehow they'd managed to win. But yeah, I just think I don't think we'll win, but I think we could sneak a draw.
Yeah, there's a lot we've seen. If Villa go ahead, we seem to become more switched on and obviously have a better chance of winning the game. If we go behind, you don't really often see us get back into the game. I think it's only happened once or twice under Gerrard. So it's important to keep it tight. That's what Spurs did well. I mean, Spurs are obviously a better team than us, so it's stupid for me to say that, but they were organised. They kept it tight. They actually, I thought, made Liverpool quite one-dimensional in that second half.
Yeah.
Liverpool were kind of just swinging hopeful crosses in, not really having a clue how to break them down. So I give Spurs an awful lot of credit in that game because it's very difficult to make Liverpool look one-dimensional, but they managed to do it. So perhaps, if we can keep it tight, you'd like to think Mings will eat up anything that's coming into the box area against Liverpool's front three. So yes, they score a lot of goals from out wide, but it's about the type of crosses and type of attacks you let them have. If they're swinging crosses in from deep, I would back us to deal with that. Getting caught on the break and them getting to get the ball across goal whipped in low, that's not what you want.
Yeah, and of all the big teams, I would say we tend to have a decent record against Liverpool. We tend to
over the years.
We tend to have, we may lose the game by the odd goal, but we tend to put in good performances against them. So I think
the season they won the league, we ran them very close at Villa Park, and we were absolutely rubbish at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and exactly. And their place this season, I think we were unlucky with the penalty. And played well last season away from home. I think was a Trezeguet hit the post. Remember that Watkins scored. We were unlucky.
Yeah, we do okay. We give them a run for their money anyway. Obviously, we chuck in the odd 7-2 in there as well.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad thing to check again, to be honest. But I just think I was against Liverpool for some reason. Against if it was Spurs or Man United or Chelsea, I'd be like whatever. But I know Liverpool are one of the best sides, if not the best side in the league. But
I think they're the best team on the planet at the moment for me, Liverpool.
Yeah, I think so. I enjoy watching them the most anyway.
Yeah, same.
I probably would have preferred them winning the league, to be honest, even though I probably don't like either team. But that's by the by. But yeah, I just think we've got a chance. It depends on how we set up. We've got to be very solid and good on the transition. I think the gap, the spacing behind the fullbacks, as you say, behind Trent and Robertson, is going to be key, and Watkins is going to be a big part of that. I think.
Yeah, you need him to stretch them really. Watkins is must play. I think Watkins will always play anyway, but he's must play in a game like this because without him as well, we have very little pace in the side.
Yeah, and the fullbacks, obviously, our fullbacks are key as well with Salah and Mane, Potter and Diaz. If Diaz plays Cash against Diaz, that'll be an interesting one, I think. You're right. I think their fullbacks, Tottenham's fullbacks, and the three at the back really worked well against Liverpool, and they did become one-dimensional. Whereas I think we probably struggle a little bit more in that position defensively. So again, it will need to be a good performance all the way around, really, for us to even get anything out of the game. But I'm still looking forward to it. Any game in the evening at Villa Park, I think you've got a chance, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I say, it's a free hit. One of the games I enjoyed most this season was when we played Man City at home. I know we lost. Yeah. But we really gave them a good run for their money. And from 2-0 down, you can go on and get absolutely hammered by these teams, but we didn't. We got a goal after half time. We stayed in the game. That's the important thing in these games. Just stay in them. If you go one down, let's not go two down very quickly. You want to keep it tight because there's always avenues to get in the game and you'll always have a chance. So, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that the Villa take something tomorrow. Liverpool may well be a little bit subdued after what happened at the weekend against Spurs. They'll know now it's going to be very, very difficult to win the title because I can't see City dropping points, as I said. So we'll see what Liverpool turn up. Undoubtedly a tough game, but every chance with the whole end behind them that Villa can pick something up. I think that does us for this week's show. So thanks very much, Omar. Obviously, this was a post-match point, but we did have a little look ahead because of the fixture schedule at the Liverpool game as well. Don't forget that discount code for Purity, #VillaView will get you 10% off everything on their website. we will be back with another post-match point, probably on Wednesday at some point. So watch out for that. We'll let you know on social media when that's coming. Thanks ever so much for watching. Thanks ever so much to Omar, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.